Okay, it's mid-November, and in northern Utah that means our riding days are few and far between until spring. So instead of riding, I figured I'd come out and make a tire video, because who doesn't like a good tire video? Little background, I bought this bike brand new last year, 2022, in March. And these are all of the tires that I have run on the motorcycle. And I'll give you my thoughts on all of them. This was the first set of tires. They came on the motorcycle. The Karoo 3s by Metzler? Yeah, Metzler. So, let's see. I thought they were pretty good on the highway. Cornered well, but the one problem they had was at highway speeds. They had a weave to them, and it was kind of unsettling. The other issue I had with them was the rear wore pretty quickly. I only ran them 1,300 miles, and the rear tire only has 630 seconds of tread left, which is still fine, but not for only having 1,300 miles on it. So I probably will never remount this. I'll just give it away because it would last another 1,500 miles maybe. I did take it off-road. It did great off-road. I had no complaints off-road, but my issue was the weave at highway speed and the poor wear. So that's the rear Karoo 3. The front actually is wearing pretty well. I'm sure it's what's responsible for that highway speed weave. So it's still got a lot of tread. I'll remount it at some time and run it through, even with the weave. And actually I'm considering buying a Karoo 4 for my next front tire to run it with my current rear tire, and I'll tell you about that later. So after the issues with the high-speed weave and wear on the Karoo 3s, I thought I would try something a little more street-oriented. So I went with the TK70s, Continental. In the rear, it's the TK70 Rocks version, which is a bit more aggressive. This tire still had a bit of weave at highway speeds. It was better than the Karoo 3s, but still present. It was a little bit quieter than the Karoos. They wore better than the Karoos, but actually not by a ton. I was expecting to get more mileage out of this rear tire. I mean, there's still quite a bit of life left in it. Let's see, I ran this set of tires for 3,200 miles. The rear is flattening off a bit, and it has 530 seconds left. I wasn't really impressed. They didn't excel off-road, which I didn't expect them to. They're, I think, a 70-30, 80-20 type of tire. The front's got a little irregular wear on them. I don't think I'll remount either of these tires. I'll try and give them away, or I'll dispose of them, but I wasn't impressed, and I would not recommend these tires. That's the, what is it, a Continental TKC 70. So let's see, at that point, after running these through, I was wondering if that highway weave was an indication of something wrong with this motorcycle. So I thought, I'm gonna run a set of street touring tires on it and see how they perform, see if they had that weave. So I put these on and only ended up running them for one road trip last September. It was a cold, rainy, let's see, I put 2,500 miles on this set of tires. and they were just rock solid on the freeway, quiet, everything you'd expect out of a touring tire. I'll probably run them if I have another long, pure road trip. I will mount these and run them. They were fine. I don't know what to say about a touring tire. They're all pretty good. It seems to be wearing well. Yeah, so I'm gonna hold on to these and I will run them through at some point. Oh, so actually before I ran the Bridgestones, I ran a set of Motoz tires. The Dual Venture in the front and the Tractionator Adventure in the rear. These had so much weave at highway speed, it was scary. It did get a little better with time. Let me see, I put how many miles on this here. Let me look at my cheat sheet. Okay, so I put 2,800 miles on this front tire. It still looks great. I will remount it at some point, and I'll use it for a lot of the local trails here in northern Utah. Yeah, so like I said, not a great street tire. Lots of weave, made a bit of noise, heavy steering on the road at low speeds. It was kind of difficult. Good off-road. So then I will talk about the rear tire later because that is on the motorcycle. Let's get this out of the way here. So, after the Motoz tires, I had a trip from here in Utah to Alaska and back planned, 7,000 miles. So I was doing a lot of research on what I wanted to run that would last the entire trip. I didn't want to get new tires in the middle of the trip. And I settled on the Mitas E07s. I went with the standard E07 Plus on the front, and on the rear I ran this E07 Plus Dakar. When I first mounted them and got on the freeway, they were great. Couldn't ask for more out of a street tire, really. They performed really well. No high-speed weave. They're a bit noisy, but not bad. I wear earplugs, so that's irrelevant, really, to me. So I had 19 days to go to Alaska and back, and on the first day from here to Oregon, I noticed the tire was already starting to flatten out a little bit, and that was a little over 500 miles, so that was a little worrisome that early in the trip, and it did wear pretty quick. I didn't need any off-road ability out of the tires for the first 3,000 or so miles of that trip, and by the time I got to the Dalton Highway, dirt road, this tire was fairly worn out. It still did okay. It was muddy the first 2 days on the Dalton, and then returning I did 2 days and it was dry. And yeah, so I was a little disappointed with the wear, especially being this is the Dakar version. It's supposed to be harder and last longer, but I ended up getting 7,000 miles out of this, and it's down to 3:30 seconds. Still legal. Had I not been on a road trip, I would have replaced this at probably 5,000 miles, you know, if I was local. And as it started wearing and getting this flat spot, the handling at high speeds started, it got a bit of a weave or an oscillation during cornering when it would come up off the flat portion and get onto these knobs here. You can tell I didn't get far over on it. I don't do much of that anymore, especially on a tire this aggressive. But all in all, pretty good. I wouldn't dissuade anybody from buying these tires. I was just a little disappointed with the wear on the rear. Let me get rid of this one here. Now the front tire is still on the motorcycle. It has 9,300 miles on it and still has 8/32 of tread depth. And it still handles beautifully. It's wearing great. I really like this tire. And if I have any more real long distance trips, I'll likely mount this same exact tire. It's great. It's probably good for at least 12,000 miles. And this is the non-Dakar version, which is softer. So yeah, very impressed with it. So let's see, now we'll talk about the Motoz Tractionator Adventure tire, which I put back on this motorcycle. This has over 5,000 miles on it, about 5,300 miles maybe, and it still looks great. I mean, and it's loud. That's the only drawback, and like I say, I don't really care about that. But I'm sold on this tire, and I'm going to keep running these. This is a great tire. I'll buy another one when this wears out. Good off-road, really good off-road. You don't compromise much on the highway, on the street, anything. It steers a little heavier than a pure street tire, but yeah, I can make that compromise. Anyways, highly recommended. Motoz Tractionator Adventure. Great tire. Anyways, so those are my thoughts on tires for a 1250 GSA. Thanks for watching.